Chair recognizes Minority Leader Greimel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When this chamber passed out its roads proposal approximately 2 weeks ago, the people of the state had high hopes and high expectations that the Senate would improve upon it and turn what was a fiscally reckless package into a fiscally responsible package that would sustainably and permanently fix our roads into the future. Unfortunately, what the Senate sent back to us today for concurrence comes up woefully short of that. The bill still includes a massive tax increase on working and middle-class families in the form of a birthday tax and a massive gas tax increase, while letting heavy trucks and corporations off the hook from paying their fair share. The package still does nothing to lower truck weights or to make sure that heavy trucks that are overweight pay their fair share of fines and fees. But the problems with this package go well beyond that. We have often been lectured by the majority party and by the chair of appropriations about the importance of fiscal responsibility and finding ways to pay for spending priorities. And yet in this case, $600 million of existing budgetary dollars are being diverted without any statement, without any identification of where that money is going to come from or what programs are going to be cut. This is going to result in a massive hole in funding for public safety, education, and health care. But don't take my word for it. Let me read some of the comments that we've heard from impartial observers. Doug Rothwell, President and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan, stated, "We have serious concerns about any proposal that relies on using more than $400 million in general fund revenues. Using the general fund beyond that level isn't sustainable and puts other critical needs at risk, ranging from potential Medicaid shortfalls and less money for community services to higher tuition bills and weaker efforts to attract jobs. These priorities are just as important as fixing potholes." Brad Williams, Vice President of Government Relations for the Detroit Regional Chamber, quote, "You can't solve this problem by creating a new one. The package passed not only creates one problem, it creates several new problems." But I also want to quote the chair of the Appropriations Committee, who just 2 weeks ago warned that lawmakers need to, quote, "be careful," end quote, about chipping away too much from the general fund. He noted that his Berrien County residents are telling him that they want a roads-only solution that isn't tied to an income tax rollback. He said, quote, "I think we should do a roads-only package. Here's what we can come up with. It's all dedicated to roads." Governor Snyder, on October 21st, the Detroit Free Press indicated that the governor wanted no more than $400 million a year taken from the general fund. And as the governor explained in an MLive article that same day, quote, "I've mentioned in the past that I want to be very careful that we're being financially responsible, not just today, but over the next few years with respect to our budgets, and that this be done in a way that doesn't come at the expense of other major activities we do within state government." Later, on November 3rd, today, Governor Snyder said again, the real challenge, and that's where I've held firm, he said, is if we're going to do something with roads that involves general fund dollars, it has to be done in a fiscally responsible fashion. Well, so much for holding firm. Apparently the majority party's lectures about and finger-wagging about fiscal responsibility doesn't apply when their budget cuts will hit long after they're gone and long after they have to make the tough decisions about where those cuts are going to come from. The majority party today is saying it's okay to kick that fiscal can down the road to leave for future generations and our children those difficult budget cuts that are going to devastate education and public safety. But perhaps the worst part about this entire package is that it won't even be phased in until the year 2021. That takes kicking the can down the road to a whole nother level. We need road solutions today, not 6 years from now. This plan is nothing other than an attempt by the majority party to pretend that they're fixing roads when in fact they're doing nothing to improve roads for at least 6 years. They're piling ever higher taxes onto Michigan families and seniors through a new birthday tax that taxes the grandmother who drives 50 miles a year, the same amount as it taxes the legislator who drives 50,000 miles a year, while all the while not even fixing the problem and creating bigger problems by draining money from public safety and education. This is a sham, it's a joke, it's pretense. This is not a real fiscally responsible solution. And I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to vote against this mockery of policy, and I urge the governor to show some backbone and veto this.